Welcome to Barnstable Today. I'm Nick Cortez. A while back, we were working on a story at the Barnstable Senior Center when I came across a display case filled with wonderfully detailed model ships and wood carvings. So I asked Senior Services Director Madeline Taylor about who was behind these works of art, and she pointed toward an open doorway leading into a meeting room. Inside that room, a woodworking class was underway, and sitting there poring over a project was Charlie Fox, an unassuming older gentleman who Madeline told me was responsible not for just one of the beautiful pieces I saw in the case, but virtually all of them. And as I learned later, that's barely scratching the surface. Charlie is a master model maker, as well as a talented wood carver and a painter. He has hundreds of pieces to his credit, and some of his most noteworthy models have been featured in the Smithsonian Museum. Recently, Charlie welcomed Barnstable This Morning's Melissa Chartrand into his home to talk about his life and his love of art. And we're pleased to bring you part one of his story.
Well, good morning. We're here today with Charlie Fox, who has been so kind to allow me to come into his home in Centerville for him to share with us his many talents. Good morning, Charlie.
Good morning.
So let's begin with you, from where you're from originally. You told me that you were from West Hartford.
Well, I worked in West Hartford for 32 years as an art teacher in the public schools. And upon my retirement, we came up here, my wife and I, and came up and retired down to Eastham. And we had built a house there in '65. So we lived there for several years, at which point I was hired as a professional model maker by a company out in Eastham.
And have you been doing models for a long time?
About 75 years.
You have to have a lot of patience to do those models.
Yes, inherently you have to have patience or you don't do it. And generally speaking, there's no hurry when you're doing models unless you're doing them on a contract basis or a commercial basis where there is a time limit. But generally speaking, that's built into whatever agreement you take.
Now, some of these models in Eastham, where did you make models for?
Well, I have models on exhibit and did contract work for the Smithsonian and Mariners Museum, Fall River Museum, Coast Guard Academy, here on the Cape, a few of them on exhibit over at the Coast Guard Museum. But I sell them, I give them away. The point is, after I get through building a model, I'm losing interest in it. So I just have to have a place to put it.
And you do models, everything sitting behind us is all of your work, because it's not just models that you do. You do carvings as well and painting. But your models, you've done ships and planes.
Ships, planes, boats, locomotives, architectural models.
Do you have a favorite?
Generally speaking, I've returned to ships most of the time.
So tell me a little bit about your other work here, your carvings.
Well, carving is just a matter of interest. These little ducks here are just sort of a pleasure project. And you take a piece of wood, transfer a pattern, or get it the type of duck. This one happens to be a red-breasted merganser, which is an interesting duck. But they're all variations of a theme, and then you can go to something that's a little bit larger. This is actually my hand that I used as a model.
Wristwatch and all.
Oh yes, well,
look at the detail.
Same watch.
Same watch.
But it's just a matter of trying to reproduce something you see. These little figures behind you, Melissa, are human figures, and I've probably done about 30 of them. I did several of them of the Kachina dolls from the Hopi Indians down the southwest of the United States. And other than that, I've done all sorts of different occupations.
All right, so Charlie, show me here. This is broken out, as you said, into the different type of work that you do.
Yes, there's a variety of things here. The ship models, and this is a half model of the America, a famous American boat that competed with the English in 1851. This is a little passenger boat that's down at Mystic, Connecticut. This is just a small fishing boat of the North Sea.
These models, you have to show this one here, that it just fits right in your hand. That's just remarkable.
Those are fun, just fun. I did about 75 of these for a commercial company in Boston, which they used as a commercial bit of advertising, and that was just a happenstance thing, something that happened that came on without planning. This is something that's popular, particularly I think down in the middle Atlantic, and in order to do something of that sort, I would do a large drawing and then have it reduced and put onto that. These are the tiles that originally these designs were made for the purpose of needlepoint patterns. And my wife and I, back in the 80s, did several of these, about 10 different designs, and we sold the silk-screened prints to people who wish to do needlepoint work. And this is that one that you just see, and just recently have experimented with putting the designs on tiles. These are 8x8 tiles. So, it's another variation of artwork.
Absolutely.
And sculpture is another form of artwork which I've done over the years, all the way from life-size sculptures down to these, this type of head.
And then your paintings.
Yeah,
as well.
paintings.
Pen and ink you do a little bit of everything, Charlie. It's
Yeah.
quite remarkable.
Watercolor. Most of the time I do my own work. This is from Rockport, which is a painting, and
So you've
a
done some
watercolor.
plein air painting.
So, anyway.
That's great. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
There's much more to see and hear from Charlie Fox. You can catch part 2 of Melissa's interview tomorrow at 8:40 a.m. during our weekly Arts and Culture segment on Barnstable This Morning. We have just one meeting left for the week this week. The Town Council convenes tonight for its last meeting of the year at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall hearing room. Well, that's all for now. I'm Nick Cortez, and we'll see you next time on Barnstable Today.